Hey, it's your CEO, Weekend Gabe, and thanks for watching Weekend at Gabe's. We hope that you enjoy this latest episode. While you're here, hit the subscribe button and follow us on YouTube. Thanks for watching.
So, excited to get into it, but first, ladies and gentlemen, the only news that anybody gives a shit about is on regular news networks. But this show is about Weekend Gabe, and that's why it's news that only Gabe cares about.
All right, let's get into it. Listen, 25 years is a long time to be pissed off at somebody. And did you get a chance to watch the Wu Tang documentary that was on Showtime about 2 years ago?
I wouldn't even know where to start trying to find Showtime shows.
Showtime Anytime is really fantastic for documentaries, especially for hip hop. Mass Appeal and Nas have done a wonderful job of like putting up hip hop documentaries.
A new age baby that I am, I'm really excited for this new Pharrell documentary that's coming out on Hulu. But that is besides the point.
Also, PBS has a hip-hop documentary. It's in pieces. They had the first episode last week. I'm hoping that they drop the next one this week. It's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. PBS is amazing. Get Passport. But anyways, on the documentary, they talk about how during the height of Wu Tang Forever in 1997, when the album came out, the most successful project, they are on tour with Rage Against the Machine. They are doing this countrywide tour, and they're asked to come back to New York to do the Hot 97 Summer Jam. But they weren't booked to be on it. They were unexpectedly invited. And then when they were like wavering about whether or not to do it, Hot 97 said, if you don't do this, we're going to stop playing your music. And essentially we're like, threatening them. So Wu-Tang leaves this very successful tour with Rage Against the Machine, goes to New York, does the show. They don't get paid for it. And Ghostface Killah goes on the stage and asks the crowd to chant "fuck Hot 97." Which then led to them sort of being banned and their music not being played, and which probably created, devalued the brand of Wu-Tang during the late 90s when they most needed sort of that bump when the crew itself was starting to fade into more solo records. But anyways, Funkmaster Flex this week came out and said, hey, listen, I'm sorry that we did what we did, but let's make amends and we're going to do something together. Now that you know this story, Sam, would you accept that apology 25 years later, being that you bullied me into performing, not paying me, and then banning me?
The thing about it is that, as we've expressed on this show before, and as I've expressed on this show before, Funkmaster Flex is such a fucking lame. Yeah, man, I was like, radio is also pretty lame, these days. I think Wu-Tang, if you're a fan of Wu-Tang, you're probably a rabid fan of Wu-Tang. So this really doesn't make any difference in the year of our Lord 2023 whether or not Wu-Tang is being played on Hot 97. It doesn't actually make a difference whether anyone is being played on Hot 97. The only time you see Hot 97 these days is when somebody hops up on there and does a freestyle, and fucking Funkmaster Flex does one of these faces the whole fucking time.
Exactly.
No, fuck this guy, man. Like, good for them for squashing beef. I think all the old hip hop heads should squash all the beef at this point, because I don't know what y'all look like running around saying you gangster at 55. It's just not competing, bro. Like you have like arthritic knees, bro. Like what are we talking about, bro? You can't even get low these days, So yeah, squash the beef, that's cool, but Funkmaster Flex remains a lame, and fuck Hot 97 and fuck radio.
I just don't see like partnering with Hot 97, like what that's gonna do for the Wu-Tang brand.
It's not. It's gonna
Wu-Tang is solidified.
The 97 brand, so it's really a fuck you on top of a fuck you.
Like Wu-Tang sells out everywhere they go. Like I saw them in the summer. That fucking played the amphitheater in Tinley Park was packed. People weren't. I mean, everyone would see everyone on the bill, but it was like Wu-Tang shirts everywhere. Yeah. I didn't see a Nas or Busta Rhymes t-shirt. The clan is gonna be okay with or without Hot 97.
Makes t-shirts?
I didn't see them there. If they were, it wasn't a thing.
Nas don't make t-shirts. The Nas merch is just the all black tee, bro. It's just the fucking Hanes pack, bro. Buy it for $60.
All right, this is totally up your lane. You are the biggest 50 Cent fan, especially the Get Rich or Die Tryin album. It celebrated 20 years
Wow.
this past week. I went and bought this the first day it came out. It was one of the biggest moments that I can remember as a hip hop fan. The moment itself, or the 50 Cent rollout, is one of the biggest things to ever happen. He went almost platinum in a day. I think it went like 900,000 in the first week. We'll get into the numbers in a second, but I think it's 12 times platinum, diamond across the world. I mean, this was just a monumental moment for hip hop and 50 Cent. And this is why this album still resonates with so many people, is because it's one's amazing, but because of the way that it resonates with people and their feelings about that moment or when it came out. Because it was such a huge thing that I can't really compare it to, except when Snoop's debut came out. That's the only comparable thing I could think of. And someone pointed out that it wasn't the internet in 93 or 94. And 50 Cent had the internet behind him. So, this is, I'm so excited that we get to talk about this album again.
Yeah, I mean, I love talking. As we've said on this show before, I love talking about this album. So,
for sure.
Any excuse to talk about the greatness that is 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Tryin. But yeah, man, just an incredible thing. I dragged my babysitter to the next town over on the bus to have her buy this for me, and my parents almost fired her for it. And it's just an incredible body of work. Every song is so good, and I used to know the lyrics to all of them. I can't say that I know them all these days, but 50 Cent never got higher than this, and I'm not sure. I think this was, I think you're right, Gabe. I really think this was like the first viral music moment. I say viral in the context of internet. You know what I mean? Like, there's not much of a window from, I don't know, 95 to 2003 where like anybody capitalized on this. So, and like I said, I grew up in London. I was in London dragging people to the store to get the fucking tape, you know what I mean? So I could play it off of the boombox in my house, you know, like crazy.
I mean that's how big the reach was, and I was trying to explain, you know, I was like someone was like, well, you know, DMX. I'm like, DMX's run was great, but it was not this. This was such a moment that everyone jumped on the 50 Cent G Unit brand and bandwagon because they really wanted this guy to win.
I never rag with the cap, you know what I mean? Like,
there's very few moments where the hip hop community and most hip hop members of the community wanted one person to be so successful. And this was like that moment where everyone like made sure they got the album and put it, because it wasn't like that Napster and pirating didn't exist in 2003. It was at the height. So when people actually put their money behind this and were like, "Yo, I'm gonna make sure I support this," that's a huge statement. Yeah, that's a huge statement.
And it's not even just that, you know, like I obviously grew up in London, but it was my cousin who grew up in the countryside of England where they don't even have fucking high broadband internet, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's the one putting me on this stuff. So it's like, man, shout out to Jordan, wherever you're at with your kids. Much love. And much love to this song. The best song on this album is not on this list.
No. So this is 50 Cent's biggest chart toppers in his career. And you see that In the Club was number one for 9 weeks in a row, 30 weeks on the chart. And you're going to see that there's another song of his that's actually a little bit long. Oh, yeah, Down on Me is his. But PIMP was off the album.
Stop playing.
PIMP, 3 weeks, peak number 3, 25 weeks. 21 Questions, 4 weeks at number 1. He had smackers, smash hits.
Yeah, Nate Dogg on that.
And this doesn't even include like Many Men, which they did a single in the video for. Like, there's all types.
Also great. But the best song on this album, Gabe, is not one that you listen to, but it's one that I listen to religiously.
What is that?
If I Can't.
Mm.
If I can't do it, it can't be done. I'm gonna take champagne by the fire. I'm gonna take it to the top. You know, I listen to that song if I got a really bad hangover and I really need to get it together. You know,
Yep.
I throw that thing on. Nothing can defeat me if I Can't comes on. So 50 Cent, thank you.
You said that like this was the height of his career, but the Massacre did 9 million. It was almost equally as successful. People kind of really
fantastic album.
Man Massacre is like really fucking. I was listening to it 2 weeks ago. I was like, this is really fucking solid.
That
really
had,
solid.
That had Candy Shop on it.
Yeah.
There are hits on the Massacre, but can I say that it's better than Get Rich or Die Tryin'?
Oh, I mean, no.
We got to talk about albums, and we've done this on Music Shots and all of this stuff where we talk about, this song's a hit, but the rest of this album is shit. Or, these 3 songs are hits, but the rest of this album is garbage. You can't say that with Get Rich or Die Tryin'. There are songs on the Massacre that don't slap. There is not a single song on Get Rich or Die Tryin' that doesn't hit, bro.
That whole album is replayed.
You got 2 Eminem guest features, and they're both so hard. And G Unit was together. It was like top.
Man, G Unit. You couldn't go anywhere not hearing someone say "G Unit."
Because I gotta do the yayo dance.
They can't see me, which I think that John Cena probably ripped from Tony Yayo.
Yeah, he definitely did.
I think there's always been some debate about who did it first.
John Cena ripping Black Culture example number 7,832.
You don't say. You don't say. The brand was so dope. Like, and it wasn't like that. Banks wasn't dope. Yayo was in jail for most of this, and then get home till after the G Unit album came out. But still, it was like the free Yayo t-shirts were fucking everywhere. It was just like everything about them seemed so fucking cool. It's like you wanted a piece of that.
It was the on top of it was like the real gangsta shit, because all the stories back in the day of NWA, of DMX. All of these are behind the scenes stories that you hear 20 years later and you're like, wow, that is gangster. But you weren't getting those in your face. It's like, you heard the music, you assumed some of that shit was real, but you weren't like getting it. But it was the authenticity. He was shot 9 times. It's the bullet holes on the front of it. It's the song Many Men, it all ties together.
It's great. The story was fantastic. I want to shout out to Banks because that Buccaneers white cap is fucking dope. So that's really dope. Even like 20 years later, this is fucking dope. Wow. But man. Salute to 50 Man. Word on the street is that him and Dre are working on a new project. So maybe we'll get some new 50 Cent music in the near future. I'm not opposed to this. Sam may be over a 50 Cent's music career.
Stop, bro. You can't even get low these days. What are we talking about here?
I'm open to hearing 50 doing another album. We'll see how it goes.
Don't need it. The world doesn't need it.
Probably not. All right, let's go to the movies. AMC is set tripping again. They have decided to unveil a new pricing scheme, focus on the word scheme, in which seat location determines how much a movie ticket costs. Seats in the middle of the auditorium will cost $1 or $2 more, while seats in the front row will be slightly cheaper. AMC said the pricing plan, dubbed Sightline, has already been rolled out in some locations, and by the end of the year, it'll be in place at all U.S. AMC theaters after 4 p.m. This is that fuck shit, man. I understand that the movie theater experience has just tanked since the pandemic, but this is not the way. This feels like you're blue check marking folks, man. I think
if you really look back, the movie theater experience was tanking before the pandemic. That being said, this is not a great idea, but I don't know. I guess you have to do it if you're AMC.
Yeah, generate money somewhere.
It comes on the eve of a big event, because we will be back, in the theaters maybe next week watching Ant-Man. If you're into that sort of thing, which I have been waiting probably 2 years for.
If you're into that sort of thing, yes. We are.
Yes, we are. And I'll sit on the aisle. I don't care. I'll sit in the front. I like sitting in the front. If I go to the theater, where I sit is not going to matter. So at the end of the day, AMC knows that, which is why they're charging me more to sit in the middle. Assigned seats is never going to work in this country, but go for it. But ultimately, this policy is going to make me not want to go.
It's not. This isn't the thing that fixes it. And if anyone at AMC has actually walked into one of their theaters recently, they'll see that there's probably 2 people in that bitch. So this isn't going to bring people back.
No.
This is going to make people more angry, which is the sometimes article pointed out that people were just more angry and upset that like they feel like AMC is already a monopoly here in Chicago and other cities that now you're just turning people upside down and shaking out the quarters in their pockets. It's like you're just like, here, just take it all at this point.
Ain't
like,
that capitalism, man? Ain't that capitalism.
This is not the move, AMC. But hey, man, Elon Musk has shown you guys that stupidity is not has no borders.
No, it doesn't.
All right, let's go to Sam's big excitement this week. Hogwarts Legacy breaks records before its official release. The single-player game has been 5 years in the making. 5 years.
Listen, let's talk about what it says. These last 2 words in this headline.
We'll get to that
controversy.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
I would like to get to it now because
go ahead.
With a game like this, which is produced by Warner Brothers Games, a lot of people have done a lot of work to make this game work, to make it look beautiful, to make it look playable, and really smart decisions from a game designer standpoint to make it a really enjoyable game that breaks records because people love it.
Sure.
I think it's a little harsh on those people who have worked really hard to include the words "despite controversy" because there is no controversy around this game. There is controversy around one person and one person only.
Right.
That is J.K. Rowling. Yes, it is her intellectual property. Yes, she will make some money off of this. Guess what? She's richer than the royal family. She has been since 2002.
Yeah.
So this is not news. There is no controversy surrounding Hogwarts Legacy. There is only controversy surrounding J.K. Rowling. You can either get over that enough to play a really amazing game, or you can't. And it doesn't matter because we've already broken the records.
Yeah. This is it's on a $150 million budget, and it's already broke a record on Twitch for being the most watched single player game played by streamers who got the game early, and it's the #1 pre-sale this week on gaming platform Steam. Man, this is phenomenal, man. Hogwarts Legacy is based on Harry Potter, but it is set in the late 1800s, well before the action and Harry Potter books take place. So, yeah, like, what is the give us the sort of the experience of playing this?
Yeah,
is it as great as it looks?
It is beautiful. I think for years, fans have wanted a game that takes you inside of this world in a sort of cohesive setting, and what we love about Hogwarts, what we love about the magical world of Harry Potter, as it were, is the ability to explore it. And games came out alongside the movies that released back in the day. Those games were loved, well received, but ultimately you felt when you were playing through the game, you were on train tracks a little bit. You were following the storyline. The storyline was the same as the movie. So there wasn't really opportunities to explore. There wasn't really free play segments. It was always, hey, you got to go from this character's conversation to the next character's conversation on the other side of the castle. So go quick, you know. This game is bigger, and that is what I will say about it. The intro takes a really, really long time to play. It's beautiful, though. You should watch the cutscenes, even though some of my more impatient friends are skipping those to try and get through to the point where they can free play. And the reason that they're doing that is because once you get to the point of free play, you can explore this beautiful world, and it's massive. It goes beyond just the castle walls. You're not restricted to Hogwarts. You can go to Hogsmeade, as I was doing last night. It runs on sort of an Assassin's Creed type engine. So the graphics are impeccable. The controller haptics on the next generation controller are insane. The button mapping is really, really well thought out to make casting spells not feel like firing a Call of Duty Modern Warfare weapon, you know? They have done a lot of really careful work to make this game great, and they should be absolutely applauded for it. And I think it is absolutely criminal that we have to sit here while we all have this beautiful thing that we love, and we have to fucking talk about J.K. Rowling because nobody cares, man. Like, nobody cares. If you care, don't play the game. Don't play the game. You don't want to put money in your pocket? Don't play the game. The rest of us who enjoy fun and good things are going to play the game because, to be fair, when we're talking about gender and ideologies, the game is really, really in tune with that. And in tune with that when you're creating your character. There's lots of options. There are ethnic characters throughout the game. There is all this inclusivity, and you're going to throw all of that away because you're still mad at this woman who is still richer than you. Right. It will be when you die and when she dies, you know?
Yeah, it's almost like you're ignoring that there's conflicts in almost anything you purchase. Like there's anything you watch.
You want to go to the store and buy a Tyson bag of chicken, bro? Like what are we talking about?
Like this is where you draw the line. Like I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this game. Like
I just think it's really like I would feel horrible as somebody who worked really hard to make it good, to make it, in spite of all of this, because no doubt J.K. Rowling's involvement with this IP is a border. It's a barrier. It's a hurdle that you have to overcome to create something great. They could have created something half-assed. They didn't. Yeah. They made something amazing. Yeah. So enjoy it. If video games aren't your thing, don't enjoy it. If think pieces are your thing, go write some more of them. But this is such a great game. And one of the best next generation, when we're talking about PlayStation 5 games, there are not many PlayStation 5 native games. I say PlayStation 5, I mean next generation. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
We had Miles Morales, fantastic game, very, very short. This game is not that. It is much deeper, it's much longer, it's much more beautiful, and it's everything that we were promised, not only from Hogwarts Legacy, but from the PS5 and next generation consoles in general. And that is my spiel when I'm getting off my high.
I'm really excited. I've seen the gameplay in some of the clips and it looks phenomenal. I'm really
it is spectacular.
It's piqued my interest. I don't know if I'm going to go out and get a PS5, but it's on Steam.
It's worth the purchase. It's worth the purchase. You can play it on the PC. You can do whatever you need.
Yeah,
it is worth it to me.
No, I agree. I think it looks fantastic. So I'm glad to hear the positive feedback. That's encouraging. What's not encouraging is that some of your favorite NBA players are winding up in spaces that they thought that they left forever. One John Wall, to mention. Imagine leaving hell.
Sorry, John Wall. We're so sorry, bro.
Imagine leaving hell and then having to return back to it. That's wild. And then the Brooklyn Nets are now stuck with Ben Simmons as their lone star player who is no longer a star.
What a player.
I just feel bad for the Nets fans in general who thought that the big three were going to churn out titles.
I've seen Weekend Gabe has more offensive threat than Benjamin Simmons.
I think so too. I have way more heart than him too.
Yeah, that's it. You get on the floor with a loose ball, and that's what's important.
I would definitely die for a loose ball. Ben Simmons will probably just back off. But today was really exciting. You stood up till 1 a.m, or you just happened to be up when Kevin Durant was shipped.
I happened to be up at 1 a.m. when Kevin Durant was shipped, and I said to myself, "Bruh." That was crazy, and more so because Phoenix didn't give up almost anything to get that. They gave up picks. Maybe those will be worth it for Brooklyn in the future. I hope so. Y'all have not shit. But yeah, this was I think ultimately a fun trade deadline.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook got out of LA. He's now maybe Utah if he doesn't get bought out. What is it? The Lakers got what's his name from the Timberwolves?
They got D'Angelo Russell.
Russell, there you go. That's he's back.
When I was in college, and he was also one of my more favorite NBA players these days. So D'Lo being back in LA is fun. I don't know if it's necessarily a good business decision when you had him for free and then you let him go and then he's coming back and you had to give something up for him.
Well,
that seems like bad business. But most importantly, they got Mo. Call him up.
What is it? The Warriors did that too. They got Gary Payton the second back after they let him go in the offseason. They didn't
Yep.
resign him, and now they
Yep.
traded back for him.
Traded back for him. That seems like bad business to me as well. But I mean, if
hey.
you can afford, you free up the cap space so you can afford the contract. They moved on James Wiseman to Detroit. Got Sadiq Bey in exchange, and then sent Sadiq Bey somewhere else. So clearly didn't rate him very much. So and ultimately, that's what it comes down to.
I mean, it seems like everyone was playing in the trade game except our Chicago Bulls, who decided.
Where are you, Jerry? Jerry Reinsdorf, where are you?
It appears that the 10th seed in the NBA East was like, you know what? We're staying pat. We're good. With no one. Quote from the Bulls GM: there were so many buyers. There were a lot of teams that didn't want to take a step back, including us. We tried to improve our team, but at what cost? At what cost? You're the 10th seed. What are you giving up? It's like, I don't understand.
Better question. What are you improving for? Because you're clearly not improving to become a playoff team.
And they might be a play-in team, and that may be a playoff team. I guess that's good-ish. It's fucking stupid. I'm just so mad. I'm just so mad. Just keep waiting, hoping and praying that Lonzo's knee somehow fixes.
If it were me, and I said this on the pre-show, but if it were me, I would have traded DeMar, I would have traded Vucevic, and I would have traded Zach LaVine for absolutely everything that I could have gotten for him. I would stick with the youth. I would say that we probably won't be more competitive than we are, but if we, you want to stick some butts in seats and Utah does end up buying Russell Westbrook out, I'd bring him in to sell some tickets like you brought D Wade in to sell some tickets.
Yeah.
And just have a retooling year because this is not working. But there are bits of this Bulls team that work, and there are bits of this Bulls team that could be really great pieces on a championship team elsewhere, and it's almost criminal to all of those players to keep them languishing in 10th.
Exactly. I feel like I'm in an abusive relationship being a Bulls fan. I really do. I feel like you want to love them, but they just don't love you back. And
I think, for what it's worth, it is more fun being a Bulls fan than it is being a Bears fan. But at the same time,
that's also equally abusive. Yes.
Yeah, and at least we've had deep playoff runs, since 1998. We've been competitive over the last 20 years.
There's been moments
more than I can say for your Chicago Bears.
No, there's been moments, but I feel like being the third largest market, you shouldn't just have to wait for moments. But whatever. All right, so this Sunday is the Super Bowl. You might have noticed. The biggest Sunday of them all returns, and your Kansas City Chiefs and your Philadelphia Eagles, depending where you are in the world, are facing off. The Kelsey brothers are going to be there. Listen, I really don't have a dog in this game, but I'm going to enjoy it as always. I'm going to enjoy the commercials probably more than the game, but I'm here hoping that it's going to be a bit of a slugfest and that we're going to get a lot of points put up. Because I remember last year's game was kind of slow.
Sleepy. It was kind of sleepy.
The G Unit the G Funk halftime show was the highlight of it all.
The G Unit halftime.
Yeah, G Unit was in the building. Shout to 50. But yeah, if your halftime show is the biggest story of the day, that's probably not good for the game itself. But here's hoping that this is going to be a really good game. We have the first time ever 2 black starting quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. So making history there, especially on Black History Month.
Hell yeah, Black History Month. We love that.
So there's some storylines that are worth keeping an eye on. But are you, being that you grew up not really giving a shit about this game, how have you evolved into somewhat caring about this game?
I have not watched a single minute of the NFL playoffs. To be honest
wild.
with you, I was a very middling team in my fantasy league this year, meaning that I was neither the worst team this year nor a playoff team. So I was bad, but not too terrible. So I lost interest quickly. But that all to be said, everybody loves the Super Bowl. Who doesn't love the commercials? The commercials are funny. every time. We're going to dive back into that probably head first this year for the first time since the pandemic. Actual spending on a serious Super Bowl ad, which will be fun. Hopefully the Clydesdales are back. This is the types of things that I look forward to. Do I have a dog in this fight? No. But what I do know is if Philadelphia win, they will absolutely burn down the city of Philadelphia. And if Philadelphia lose, they will absolutely burn down the city of Philadelphia. And I think the burning of Philadelphia, as the British person in me, finds a lot of joy in that.
Payback.
So I think I'm riding with the Chiefs. I think I'm riding with the Chiefs. Although Devontae Smith, who is in that graphic, is my dude. AJ Brown was on my fantasy team for about 6 weeks this year. So got love for the Eagles too. Jalen Hurts, I wanted to draft you, my guy, this year, but somebody got there first. Sorry, my friend. Maybe next year. Yeah. But yeah, go Chiefs.
Yeah. I think so too. I think the Chiefs. This is the biggest star of them all.
Fucking yes.
So yes. Rihanna is gonna have 13 minutes of just her. We haven't seen much of Rihanna at all recently, and she's been sort of collecting, slowly, like quietly becoming a billionaire.
Well, quietly becoming a billionaire with Savage Fenty, also having a baby in the last year. So quietly becoming a mother as well. And she has not released any music since the Black Panther movie. She released a song. That was the first song in a really long time.
Yep.
And hopefully we'll see the best parts of the Rihanna discography on display at halftime, which are, Gabe?
The discography?
Yeah, I was like, what's your favorite Rihanna song?
Oh, I don't know, Umbrella, I guess.
Wow.
I'm not a huge Rihanna fan.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, that's cool. Like, that's why I was like, when they picked her, I'm like, oh, okay.
She has to do "Love on the Brain" because it's close to Valentine's Day. You got to do it.
Is that like a huge record? I feel like she's just gonna pull out all the huge.
That's a huge record. "Love on the Brain." You got to do work. That's gonna happen.
Does she have any guest features? That's the thing. Is she gonna get Jay-Z to come do Umbrella?
She's gonna get Jay-Z to do "Run This Town."
You think Umbrella. That? Interesting.
She released the trailer this morning, and "Run This Town" was the anthem on the trailer. So I expect Jay-Z to come out for that. I think it would make sense if they went from "Run This Town" to "Umbrella" off bat. And like she was saying in the press conference this morning, trying to fit 17 years of music career into 13 minutes is difficult for anybody. But we hope we all get to see what we came to see, which was Rihanna absolutely tear the stage down. I am excited. My girl is excited. Everyone is excited for this. So
that's great. I will tip my hat to Jay-Z and his group that have taken over sort of the halftime show, Rock Nation.
Right.
They've done some absolute fabulous work since leading that effort. So I'm curious to when white people are going.
Like nepotism,
big time.
It's only people signed to Rock Nation who get.
It's like
right.
I'm curious though, like because for the early 2000s, remember we had like Aerosmith and we had like Rolling Stones, we had like all these aging stars that were doing the Super Bowl.
And we had the Who one year. That was a fun year.
And then remember like what kind of happened after Janet Jackson? Then they just went to like a really safe route of getting like all these like artists to come in and like, oh, we're just not going to do anything too risque, which meant that the elimination of hip hop was involved. And then now it's like the last few years we've seen sort of an influx of urban black music.
Back.
So
the Weeknd performance 2 years ago
that was phenomenal. Yeah, that was phenomenal.
The last year's Super Bowl was pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it's been great.
Wasn't my favorite thing in the world, but it was good.
I'm just waiting for people to be like, Timberlake did it like 4 years ago.
He did do it. It was Timberlake and Shakira, wasn't it?
No, it was just him. It was just that was his show.
Word. Yeah. Oh no,
it was J-Lo and Shakira, Jennifer Lopez and Shakira. Yeah, they did it like 5 years ago.
Yeah, that was wild. I don't know. Super Bowl halftime always bangs. Super Bowl as a spectacle always bangs. So even though I haven't watched a minute of the NFL playoffs this year, I'm definitely watching the Super Bowl.
All right. You said predictions. You have the Chiefs winning.
I got the Chiefs in a relatively low-scoring game. I don't think either team scores more than 3 touchdowns.
So the over/under for the game is 50 points. So you
I'm
think
taking the under. I'm taking the under on that. I think it's Chiefs win, and it's going to be under 50 points. Because like you said, that Eagles defense is good. If the Chiefs are going to win against a good defense, it's probably going to be a low-scoring game.
I'm going to take the over and say that the Eagles defense causes a couple turnovers that land in points. So
but then you got to think about it like that. So if they cause the turnover, let's say it's a pick 6, that's 7 points for them, but 0 points for the Chiefs. If you end up on a 28-0 score line to the Eagles, still the under.
That's true
still
too.
The under weekend game.
Yeah, well, I think that the Chiefs could pull 25 points out of their ass.
I think 50 points is a lot in a Super Bowl. It's tough to score
lately,
more than 50 points in a Super Bowl.
It seems like a lot of games have been really low scoring the last.
Yeah, it's like
few
you would
years.
have to. Each team would have to score 3 touchdowns, and then you would have to have some sort of crazy moment at the end.
I'm still gonna take the over though. I'm gonna put some money up on FanDuel and
I'm gonna do the same thing, and like they said, it's illegal to give out gambling tips on the internet. Always go with your gut. You know what I mean?
Before we leave, apparently you cannot bet online in Wisconsin. They do not allow online betting.
You can't do that. It's actually been state by state. So
super trash.
Where you're at, don't. Make sure you're in a legal betting state. As far as I know, Tennessee is legal. New York is barely legal, and Iowa is annoying but legal.
So, anyways, just a note that if you're traveling for Super Bowl Sunday and you want to put a bet in, make sure you put your bet in before you leave your state. You will get locked out unless you're one of those people that can like move around and do the
the VPN thing.
The VPN thing.
I don't know. Those FanDuel things are pretty. They're pretty serious about.
They're pretty good about finding that out.
Yeah, they're good.
All right, all right. That was our extended Super Bowl edition of news that only Gabe cares about.
Only Gabe cares about on this Thursday, February 9th, 2022.
Thanks for watching this latest episode. We hope that you enjoyed it. If you're looking for more, click on any of the episodes swirling around my head. And also, don't forget to follow us on the socials at Weekend Gabe, at Weekend at Gabe's, and also at The Real Sam Crane. All right, thanks for watching, y'all.